Tonight, a brutal attack on a disabled teenage football fan. Police are hunting for a gang of hooligans after an 18-year-old was targeted and left needing hospital treatment.
Oh my God, that's disgusting.
Shouldn't be anywhere in our society, kicking anybody, let alone somebody who's disabled.
Also making the headlines, a real-life drama.
Post Office Limited is stealing my livelihood, my shop.
Post office workers wrongly accused of theft say the new STV series is making sure people know about the huge IT scandal.
We'll come back stronger. Celtic's Greg Taylor issues a warning to the rest of the Premiership as the league stops for the winter break.
And we meet the teenage horse riding star flying the flag for disability sports. I'm Kellyanne Woodland in Edinburgh.
And I'm John Mackay in Glasgow. This is the STV News at 6.
Good evening. Police are hunting for a gang of football hooligans after a disabled teenage fan from a rival club was attacked and left needing hospital treatment. Dunfermline Athletics say any supporter found to have been involved in the assault on the Raith Rovers fan will be banned from East End Park.
The 18-year-old was repeatedly kicked and verbally abused by the group after last night's Fife derby. Tonight, the police say one arrest has been made. Here's our senior reporter, Gordon Cree.
This video, widely circulated on social media, appears to show a Raith fan lying on the ground as a number of other people repeatedly punch and kick him. The attack is understood to have left the 18-year-old victim with broken hearing aids. In Dunfermline today, revulsion.
Oh, it shouldn't be anywhere in our society, kicking anybody, let alone somebody who's disabled.
Oh my God, that's disgusting.
Yeah, pretty shocking thing to see, yeah?
Yeah.
The police have said they're making inquiries into an assault on an 18-year-old man at 5:30 yesterday, just after the game. They say he was taken to Victoria Hospital in Kirkcaldy for treatment. In a statement, Dunfermline Athletics said it condemns all forms of violence in the strongest way possible, adding the club would work with Raith Rovers to ensure the supporter receives the support they need and that anyone found to have taken part in this horrible act would be banned from East End Park. Supporter group Section Northwest said no one involved was one of its members, but it apologised to the victim and said it would pay towards a replacement hearing device. Raith, who won the game 2-1, has been in touch with the teenager directly and says it has plans to support him. Rovers goalkeeper Kevin Dubrovsky tweeted of the incident, "This is not what football is about," and he hopes people involved face the consequences. Tonight, police said a 17-year-old male had been arrested in connection with the incident and efforts to trace others continue. Gordon Cree, STV News, Dunfermline.
A new STV drama depicts the real-life story of post office workers wrongly accused of theft. The Scottish workers, whose lives were ruined after they were wrongly accused of fraud and false accounting, say it is shining a light on the Horizon IT scandal.
Almost all paid for the losses from their own pockets, suffered damages to their reputations and lost their livelihoods. A public inquiry is ongoing, with many still waiting for compensation. Vanessa Taff reports.
They're not calling me a thief. They wouldn't dare. They say money's somehow gone missing from this branch, which it hasn't, and I have to pay it back.
A system that was supposed to be secure but cost many more than just money.
Post Office Limited is stealing my livelihood, my shop, my job, my home, my life savings, my good name.
The Horizon IT failure, considered the most widespread miscarriage of justice in British history, has been dramatised. It showcases the treatment of postmasters like Louise, who were wrongly accused of stealing thousands of pounds from the post office tills.
I think a lot of people are only now kind of learning what's happened. Within quite a short time, with several alleged shortfalls the post office were claiming, totalling to £44,000. During that time, hadn't investigated it, didn't have much to back it up, suspended me on several occasions without updates, which was just destroyed the business.
The problems became known in the 2000s, just after the Horizon systems were installed. 6 Scots were charged with theft and are still waiting for their convictions to be overturned. Postmasters claimed that senior post office staff knew about the system's failings or ignored the concerns altogether.
What does justice look like for you? I need to see the people that knew fine well what was going on at the time. That's what this inquiry is for. They must be prosecuted. They just all need to be accountable for what they did. And they've all suddenly got memory loss when they're being questioned for things. But if I had memory loss, it'd be a different story.
Scottish appeals will be heard next week as the public inquiry continues.
From this moment forwards, none of us will be the only one ever again.
Until then, the story that's addressing the wrongs of the past can be seen on STV and the STV Player. Vanessa Taff, STV News.
Police believe they may have recovered the car involved in a Hogmanay shooting in Edinburgh. 38-year-old Mark Webley died while another man was injured in the attack shortly before midnight outside a pub.
Investigators searching for a red Hyundai have now recovered a car 4 miles from the shooting. It comes as local community leaders look to reassure residents. Lewis Mickey has more.
The investigation continues tonight into this Hogmanay shooting as the anchor-in remains closed. 38-year-old Mark Webley was killed in the incident. Tributes to him have begun to appear today. A 38-year-old man was also seriously injured in the shooting. He remains in hospital, but according to newspaper reports today, he is posting to social media from his hospital bed. Now, investigators have today confirmed they've seized a car which may have been involved in the shooting. The gunman was seen to get out of a red Hyundai Tucson before getting back into the driving seat and making off towards Leith. Officers recovered the car yesterday afternoon in the Craigentinny area of the city, roughly 4 miles from the site of the shooting. Community leaders here are wanting to assure residents that it's safe.
This is an isolated incident, and Granton in the main is a peaceful community, a law-abiding community, and we don't want people being afraid of living here or doing their normal business here. We want to really reassure them that it's a safe place to be, it's a safe place to live, and it's a good place to live.
I mean, the police are doing all they can, I believe. You can see from the media that's got attention that's gone out. There's a big police presence there. It's very reassuring for the community at the present moment. I'd like to see more police in the streets, obviously, but at the present moment it should reassure the members of the public. But there is a lot of fear out there, and a lot of worry and a lot of stress for individuals in the community. I regularly walk the dog around here at midnight, it's no problem. I live just over the road, so that and there's a lot of people here that I've grown up with that are good community, and the new diverse community that's coming in here, so we have a great social mix.
Speaking to a former high-ranking Edinburgh police officer today, he said that the task force that will be investigating this murder are highly skilled and they will get to the bottom of this. He even said he wouldn't be surprised to see an arrest within the next 28 to 48 hours. Lewis Mickey, STV News, Edinburgh.
Now, campaigners gathered outside the Russian consulate in Edinburgh earlier to protest against fresh attacks on Ukraine. At least 32 people have died in the past week, 30 of them in one incident when Russia launched one of the largest ever aerial attacks of the war.
We're gathering here today in Edinburgh as a stand against this terrorism and attempt to make it stop. We understand that we will not be able to stop it with our words alone, so we encourage everybody to support Ukrainian military, to support our heroes who are fighting on the front lines for liberty.
A woman who was scammed out of more than £5,000 by conmen selling insulation has told STV News how they spun a web of lies to rob her of her savings and leave her unable to sell her house.
Fiona Barton then had to pay a further £6,000 to fix the problems, and trading standards say the number of people being targeted in the scams is rising. Ollie Dickinson reports.
In December of 2022, Fiona Barton was cold called by a salesman telling her about energy-saving loft insulation. Fiona took up the offer of a free inspection, and the salesman had bad news.
So this chap came round, he went up into the loft, and I thought there's nothing wrong with our loft, it's absolutely fine, it was well insulated, etc, etc. And then he came back down and he said, oh, your loft is really damp, I've got these readings, and he'd got some sort of, it's a hydrometer or something like that, and he showed us these readings, and he said, oh, it's really, really bad, it's really damp, you need to get proper insulation in there.
Fiona handed over £5,000 for work she thought was essential, but it wasn't. The works were part of a rising number of scams targeting people as energy bills soar, and it only came to light when she tried to sell her house.
When the surveyor came round to do the home report, I opened up the loft hatch, and he climbed the ladders. He went, oh, he said, you've got a problem here. You've got spray foam insulation. I went, yes, we got that put in last year. He went, no. He said, the mortgage companies will not give mortgages for this.
The removal has left Fiona £11,000 out of pocket.
Normally, alarm bells go off when something's slightly off, but these guys, they'd got it off perfectly. They knew what they were doing. I felt like we were the flies in the spider's web, and they just gently spun the web and then trapped us. So.
Trading standards are now warning that these types of cons are on the rise.
Well, the information that we're getting back is that we're seeing older people specifically targeted. We know that companies are phoning them and asking if there's anybody in the house that's over 70 or 80 and telling them that if there is, they're eligible for a free survey.
Fiona and her husband have been left shaken by their experience, and as people look for ways to keep their energy bills down, the fear is they won't be the last to be conned. Ollie Dickinson, STV News.
A family from the Highlands is hoping to encourage more people to sign up to become stem cell donors in a bid to find life-saving treatment for their 4-year-old daughter. Josie Davidson from Alness needs a stem cell transplant.
It's hoped a new donation centre recently opened in Edinburgh could help boost the chances of her finding a perfect match. Nicola McCally has the story.
4-year-old Josie Davidson needs a stem cell transplant. She has a genetic condition that means her bone marrow will fail, and a matching donor could save her life. Her family know all too well the difference a match could make. Her bigger sister Adeline underwent a successful stem cell transplant 2 years ago for a similar health condition.
It's a waiting game, really. We're either waiting for this 10 out of 10 match, or we have to wait until she gets poorly. You know, the more people that are on that register, the more likely it is, and it is giving her a second chance at life. She can get poorly at any time, and we don't know.
Only 2.4% of Scots eligible to donate are currently on the register. Previously, those who were a match for a patient had to travel to Sheffield or London to undergo the procedure. But now a new centre is opened in Edinburgh, and it's hoped this will encourage more people to sign up.
We opened this centre at the beginning of September, and we've had a number of donors come through. We're looking to ramp up the number of donors we can take in the coming year.
The DKMS charity also says that it's a far easier procedure than before, with people often able to donate stem cells the same way as they'd give blood. Josie's story has already spurred thousands of people to sign up to see if they are a match, and it's hoped even more potential donors will register.
Saving someone's life again, I don't know what else you'd want to do, you know.
Nicola McCally, STV News.
More stories in the West, and police are looking to trace the rider of a stolen motorbike who fled on foot after crashing into a pensioner in Glasgow. A 68-year-old woman was taken to hospital with serious injuries following the incident on Hogmanay in Moss Park Drive. Meanwhile, a man is in hospital after a hit and run in North Lanarkshire. The incident happened in Airdrie last night at the junction of Broomfield Street and Gartley Avenue in Airdrie. The 23-year-old man was found injured and taken to the city's Queen Elizabeth University Hospital. Police say inquiries are ongoing. 10 cats that were abandoned in Paisley are now in the care of the SSPCA. They were found stuffed in 2 pet carriers under the A737 flyover on Blackstone Road around lunchtime on New Year's Day. The charity says they could have suffocated because of the conditions and is appealing for anyone with any information to come forward. A farm and animal shelter in Erskine, which was facing closure after 47 years, has been saved. Lamont Farm Project, which gives families the chance to meet a variety of animals, including ducks, donkeys and llamas, came close to shutting its doors due to soaring costs and a recent dip in visitor numbers. But an online appeal has turned things around, with more than £41,000 raised and counting, as Caitlin Hutchison reports.
It's been a tough year for the folks at Lamont Farm.
Oh, don't chase him away, you cheeky wee monkey. We've been vandalised. We were setting fire, and then we were robbed, and then we've been vandalised again, and then the bills are so big this year. Like, we have a lot older animals. They have dentist bills, they have feet bills. You know, some are on specialised diets. The cost of hay and straw has went up phenomenally. Vet bills as well. Vet bills are, especially when you're having to get coats, because you can't take a goat to the vet. Right, handsome chops. What is it? Look at you. More carrots. They're not getting any more. Look at you, chunky bum.
Those rising costs, combined with record low visitor numbers, have left them struggling more than ever. They thought they had nowhere left to turn, but an appeal on Facebook has seen the donations pouring in.
Oh, it's brilliant. It is. It just shows the community support that's behind you, and that everybody wants to make sure the animals are safe, which is the main goal overall. Our volunteers are fantastic. Without the volunteers, we wouldn't be able to run. They're here throughout the year, come rain, hail or shine.
Sky is one of the farm's most dedicated helpers, using her free time to care for the animals here for more than a decade. Have you always loved animals?
Yeah, I love animals.
What's your favourite kind of animal?
Donkey.
Right, and do you have a favourite donkey here?
Jenny.
Yeah, what has Jenny got a personality? What's she like?
She's nice and calm.
After raising more than £41,000, they've been saved from closure, at least for now, and have a renewed sense of hope.
This place isn't paved with gold. We've got bits hanging off, and it's old and it's tatty, but they're looked after. Oh, look at this.
Hello, darling. Can I touch him?
Yeah, he's absolutely fine.
Hiya.
If you scratch behind his ears as we told you, he starts flicking.
All the animals I've met here today are either retired or rescued, and the volunteers are determined that they'll continue to receive the quality of care they deserve for many years to come.
Caitlin Hutchison, STV News in Erskine.
Now to the sport, and here's Ronnie.
Yes, thank you, John. A very good evening. Greg Taylor admits it's taken time for Celtic's new signings to understand what it takes to play for the club, but says they're now more determined than ever to kick on and defend their title. Celtic went into the winter break with an impressive 3-0 win over St Mirren, but despite the defeat, Buddy's boss Stephen Robinson admits there's plenty of positivity in Paisley after the first half of the season. It was the perfect start to 2024 for the champions as Celtic swept St Mirren aside. 4 straight wins, 8 points clear at the top, and a warning from the Parkhead dressing room for the new year. They can only get better.
I'm hungry for trophies, hungry for success, and I understand that's the demands of the club. I think there's a lot of growth still in this team. You've got to learn in the difficult times, and with a lot of boys come in who haven't been at probably a club this size, so they're growing in every day and learning the way we want to play, and slowly but surely hopefully will improve as the season goes along.
St Mirren did little to hold off Celtic, who backed up their win over Rangers with a comprehensive display in Paisley. Ahead after a minute through Dyson Maeda before Matt O'Reilly on his 100th appearance and Greg Taylor got in on the act. Tasoli Olasanya saw red following a VAR review for this challenge on Joe Hart, compounding St Mirren's misery. But from Stephen Robinson, a message of optimism.
We need to refresh ourselves, we need to try and get some new bodies in. There's not loads wrong. We're sitting in 5th in the table in a year overall where we finished in the top 6 for a club of our size, and we're sitting 5th in the table. There's a lot of good stuff, a lot of positives. It's now up to me to try and keep that going.
So now the winter break brings a halt to the Premiership, and for Brendan Rodgers, it's come at a good time.
There's a nice small period now for the players just to recover, because physically the demands are so much, especially how we want them to play and how intense we want them to be. So I think that'll be nice for them to recover. But then we'll get back. We've got loads of time to do a lot of work and then be ready for our first cup game.
John Lundstrom says Rangers can fight on 3 fronts after the winter break as the Ibrox side's injury worries start to ease. Lundstrom, who's hopeful of signing a new deal beyond the summer, played his part as Philippe Clement's side claimed a 3-1 win over Kilmarnock to keep in touch with Celtic. Here's Jamie Borthwick.
Back to winning ways. After suffering their first defeat of the Philippe Clement era in last week's derby, Rangers clocked up 3 goals to add 3 points to their Premiership tally. And with the winter break comes the chance to get players back to fitness once the season resumes at the end of the month.
Well, there's still everything to play for, and we're still in all the competitions. So, you know, fighting for the league, fighting for the Scottish Cup, and we're still in the last 16 in the Europa League. So, loads to fight for, loads to grow. We're getting lads back, as I just said, for injury. So, you know, if we try and keep the injuries low, then I'm sure we can fight on all fronts.
Kilmarnock got a goal back from the penalty spot, the first awarded against Rangers in the league since January 2022. Derek McInnes's men enter the break sitting in 4th.
We've got 3 significant injuries at centre midfield, so we'll see how those ones play out over the next couple of weeks. And we're only looking to try and do one bit of business. We're trying to bring a forward player in January, and other than that, I'm happy with the squad. Don't want MD to go, want us to get back on the horse really quickly when we come back and set about the task. I'm really encouraged with what we're getting for these lads.
Clement says he'll be very active during the transfer window after handing a debut to on-loan Wolves striker Fabio Silva.
At the end, he could go to places where he could earn much more money, but he came for the football story and for the tradition of the club also, and to win trophies, because he's somebody who's really ambitious. You see already now that he's a player who will suit the way we want to play football.
Jamie Borthwick, STV News.
Nick Montgomery says they'll look to target signings that will make an immediate impact to the team that, after his depleted Hibs side secured a late point against Motherwell. Injuries and international commitments meant Hibs were far from full strength at Easter Road last night. Despite taking the lead through Eli Yuan, Motherwell went 2 goals up after Theo Bair and Bevis Mugabe put them ahead, but Yuan again rescued a draw in injury time. To the other side of the capital, and Hearts moved 5 points clear in 3rd place as they beat Livingston 2-1, with Stephen Naismith praising the remarkable end to the first half of the season for his players. Kenneth Vargas opened the scoring in West Lothian as Hearts made it 4 wins in their last 5. Lauren Shankland, who had already missed a penalty at the start of the second half, then got his name on the score sheet. Andrew Shinney pulled one back from the spot for Davy Martindale's men, but it's now 11 defeats in the last 13 for Livingston. We now go into the winter break, and that is all your sport tonight.
All right, thanks very much, Ronnie. Well, Sean's here with the forecast, and be warned, it's going to be very chilly this month.
An icy start to the day will give way to a series of oohs and ahs. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
A very good evening and a very happy new year to you. December, of course, for many of us, relentless rain, fairly mild and windy conditions at times. January is shaping up to be a cold one, largely dry next week, but it will be turning a lot colder, and in the 3rd week of January, possibility of a northerly, which increases the chance of snow, especially in the north and east of the country. But over the next couple of days, that's when temperatures will be around average for the time of year, but then forget that into next week and the 3rd week of January, those temperatures well below average. Some very cold nights, daytime temperatures even in Glasgow, probably only around 3 or 4 degrees Celsius, so cold at night, and you can expect in the villages, the towns, especially in more rural spots, it is going to be extremely cold at times in the next couple of weeks by night. Certainly no problems tonight though, it stays mild. Temperatures about 5 to 7 degrees Celsius for most of us. We hang on to cloud outbreaks of rain for many of us, especially through the evening, but that rain turning a wee bit more showery later on. And then tomorrow, it's a day of sunshine and scattered showers for most of us. The most frequent showers across lights of Ayrshire, Argyll and Bute, and also the Highlands. Fewer showers as we head further east towards lights of Stirling, Falkirk, Grangemouth, Bathgate. Temperatures up to highs tomorrow about 6 or 7 degrees Celsius, so roughly where we've been this afternoon, and still around average for the time being. On Friday, we've still got low pressure to the north of us. That brings sunshine and scattered showers, but we see that transition to drier weather and much colder weather through the weekend. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally, a teenager from Stirling is flying the flag for disability sports after being recognised for horse riding.
Millie Boo Smith has cerebral palsy and bilateral hearing loss after she was born 14 weeks early. The schoolgirl says she strives every day to show others that having a disability is no barrier to brilliance. Courtney Cameron went to meet her.
Hi, I'm Millie Boo Smith. I'm a paragraphic rider. For me, the most important benefits from are self-confidence and self-belief. It also makes me feel like anything possible, regardless of what you think will hold you back.
At a young age, Millie started horse riding as a form of therapy to help with her coordination and strength. It soon became her passion and she now competes both locally and nationally. But life with a disability hasn't been easy for Millie.
I feel like some people judge me, but I know that I'm better than them. When I ride, it just comes sort of like I'm free on top of the world with George. I feel really lucky with him. Hi,
George.
Since Millie's family managed to secure her horse, George, on loan last summer, her riding abilities have gone from strength to strength. After several years competing with riding for the disabled, she's now working towards para-level and taking part in competitions across the UK.
Millie was born 14 weeks early back in 2006. Weighing just £1.12, so she had a very difficult start in life, and she was told very early on that she would have some challenges, and we know that she has cerebral palsy and she's deaf, and she's overcome those challenges and she's done remarkably well. Horse riding has meant that Millie hasn't needed any operations on her legs. It meant that she hasn't needed Botox injections, and actually our surgeons and our orthopaedic surgeon has said that horse riding makes a massive difference to cerebral palsy.
She's very, very dedicated. She rides 6 days a week, come rain, hail, snow. Her dressage scores are getting better and better, and she's finding, I think, her athleticism and her physical ability is improving as well. So she's a real inspiration to sports people who want to get ahead and not let anything stop them.
I hope to inspire people to try new sports and get in.
The 17-year-old is also part of the Scottish Disability Sports Young Persons panel, helping to shape disability sport across the country. She hopes by using her social media platforms, she'll be able to encourage other young people not to give up on their dreams despite any disabilities. Courtney Cameron, STV News, Stirling.
Oh, what a talent and what an inspiration. Well, I'll tell you one thing, it's good to be back, isn't it, John?
Nothing better than come back after Christmas and New Year. Fantastic. Thank you for being there for us. Good night.
Good night.